Here's a video on how to rotate your tires. This one's going to be on a Jeep 4x4, so this might be different, but I'm going to go over some basics just to help you out. So in case you want to rotate your tires, you can also do that yourself. 3 things you want to check into before rotating your tires. First, what type of drive is your car? Front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. You'll want to identify that first because that will dictate how you rotate your tires. Another variable before you jump in with that information is you want to see what type of tires you have. As you can see here, they follow a specific direction. Your tire might have like 3 lines that go around the whole circumference of the tire. This is a directional tire. So although for an all-wheel, 4-wheel drive, I would exchange these tires in a certain pattern, which I'll link a helpful picture here on the screen. So even though I do have a 4-wheel drive, because of these tires don't make it so that I can rotate it based on the graphic that I showed you before. So what I have to do, because these wheels can only stay on, or these tires can only be on the passenger side, I can only move this one there and that one back up here, and the same obviously for the other side. Now if I had the non-directional tires, the universal tires that just had 3 tread marks that went around the circumference of the tire, yeah, I could put those anywhere. But ultimately, because those tires are directional, that prohibits me from, putting this tire on the driver's side because the tire will be facing the wrong way. So that's the second variable. The third variable, this is really only unique to people with like maybe off-roading vehicles. If you have a 5th tire in there, you want to get that tire factored into the rotation too, just so all your tires are wearing relatively evenly. So with that said, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is jack up the vehicle and get that first tire off. So if we get our owner's manual here, it shows us here how to replace the tire, but this has good information for how do we prepare it for jacking. So as you can see here, obviously putting on a level surface, chalking the wheels, and putting the parking brake on, and then some locations for if we're going to be jacking up the front of the vehicle, which you can see it recommends using the pinch weld, and then in the rear there's also another jack location. So check your owner's manual for some tips and tricks on how to jack your specific vehicle, but ultimately these are kind of the basic steps. You'll just want to put the parking brake on, chalk off the wheels, jack the vehicle, and then we can rotate the tire. Alright, first step here, we're going to put on the parking brake just to add some safety, and now we can start jacking up the vehicle after we loosen some of the lug nuts. Now this is the method I'm going to use, and I know people are probably going to lose their minds, but ultimately it is a way. Is it the right way? Maybe not, but this is the way I do it. So I'm going to use my spare tire. So I'm going to remove this cover here in the back where my spare tire is located. And as you can see here, we have a jack, we have the wrench, and we have the spare tire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the tires, put on the spare, put the car down, come to the back, lift up the car, switch the tires, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of back and forth, but this is a pretty cheap and easy way if you only have this scissor jack. Now don't rely on this thing, it's not safe. I'm going to use a jack stand to hold up the vehicle while I'm changing the tire and to keep it jacked up on, but again, do this at your own risk. This is just kind of a tutorial or an educational, so hope it's helpful. Okay, so let's take out the stuff we're going to use for this. So this container just has, as you can see, the jack, the wrench, and that extension there to help us get it out. I'm going to pull that aside. Your Jeep probably doesn't come with this stuff. I've thrown my spare stuff in here. And then now we can get that tire out. And just so you can see here, there's a lock nut here that you just need to spin off that holds the tire in place. Okay, so there you go. Take that out. Most vehicles have something like that. And then you push that tire forward. I'm going to pull one of these bins out just to have more room. And then we can pull the tire out. Alright, so I got the wheels chalked off there. So now what I'm going to do is use my jack here. If you have a floor jack, that'd be a lot better. I'm just going to use the scissor jack and then jack up the vehicle. I'm not going to jack it up much because when you're changing tires, you just need enough clearance that this tire is slightly off the air so you can get this off. And the first thing you want to do while the tire's on the ground is loosen all 5 lug nuts, because once it's in the air, the tire will spin. We don't want that to happen. So let's loosen those lug nuts. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to use the supplied lug wrench that comes with the car. You can use your 22mm socket and wrench. Alright, so now all of these are able to be loosened by hand for the most part. Okay. So now that they're all loosened, you can jack up the car. Alright, so we have our jack in place, and the nice thing here is on the Jeep, it gives you that arrow of where to put that jack. So as you can see here, I have the indent here of the jack up on this pinch weld, and I can just lift it up there. Plenty of other spots like there to use your, if you have a floor jack or whatnot, but I'm just gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Again, we're just trying to get enough clearance that tire will come off. So it looks like we need to go a little bit more. And this is why we have those wheel chocks in the back, just to help prevent this car from rolling. Alright, so it looks like there's enough clearance for that tire. It's barely visible, but that is enough here. So now you can get your ratchet, or if you've loosened this enough, you can of course use the jack wrench to get open those lug nuts. Sometimes not enough clearance. Now with that, alright, so I just need a tiny bit more clearance. Alright, so there you go, you have the tire off. Not much to see there. Got the lug nuts off. And then what I did for extra safety, I put the tire underneath the car. That way if it falls, it doesn't land on the suspension or the brakes. And also while you're rotating the tires, good idea to check the condition of the brake pads, suspension, since you have a good visual. But if you're good from there, let's put on the spare tire just as a safety precaution, and we'll be good. Alright. Now, let's get our spare on. And if you wanted to jack the car up and put them all in jack stands, you wouldn't need to do this, but for those of us that just want to do it this way, it is a viable option. Alright, now that we have the spare on and that tightened down, now if the wheel's spinning, obviously start to jack down the vehicle just a little bit until the tire starts spinning. Then you can tighten it. But then, once we get that, we can take this tire down. I'm going to take away my jack stand since I don't need that anymore. Again, the jack stand's optional, but ultimately it's your life, so I would be careful. Keep an eye on that spare tire. Make sure it doesn't like fall forward or something, because obviously that means the tire was not put on straight or properly. Actually, I'm going to take that tire out now too. Looks like it's a little too low to fit under there, so get that extra insurance out of there. But keep it nearby, because obviously we're going to put that on the car once we get this. Alright, Now I'm going to do the same exact thing. Now we're going to go to the back. Alright, so I've already loosened the lug nuts just to save you from the boredom of watching me do it. But remember, loosen all 5 lugs. Put your wheel chocks in the front of the vehicle now. And now let's jack up the front. Move you here a little bit. Again, we're just looking to get that tire off the ground. Don't put your hand under the tire like I did, that was dumb. Okay. If you want, shove some cardboard or something underneath there, but don't put your hand. Saving 20 bucks on a tire rotation is not worth your life or your hand. Alright. So now that we got it jacked up enough, again, I'm going to put a jack stand under there. Okay. There we go. And now we can get to the tire. Now, deal. Alright, so I got this tire off. This one I needed to course a little bit, so I gently kicked on the rim of the tire. That got up. Obviously don't put your feet under the car because that's... Now let's get the other tire on. Look how ugly that brake pad looks. Oof. Alright, now to get this on, I wouldn't recommend wearing nice pants, but you can shimmy your legs around the tire. Hold that tire in place. Get the lug nut on. There we go. Hand tighten there, and you can start doing a little bit of more tightening. This time I'd star across pattern. And then, personally I like to torque wheels, because wheel coming off in your car is not fun. And then, so I'll torque it once we get this tire back on the ground. Just want to get it decently tight so the tire doesn't move once we put the jack down. Perfect. All right, so now that that's in, let's get the jack down, get the jack stand out of there too. All right, so now with this wheel technically done, now we can torque it. Again, like I said, 90 to 110 foot-pounds. I'm gonna do 105. One wheel successfully rotated. Now, let's get those two exchanged. And there you go. I switched the other tire off camera just to save you from seeing something you've already seen. And yeah, it's just the same thing. Obviously, follow that chart that I showed at the end of the video for your specific tire style, and then also if yours is a front, rear, all-wheel, or four-wheel drive. And you'll be good to go. Help preserve your tires, help them to last a bit longer. If the video was helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and suggestions are always welcome. Obviously, impact gun and jack stands are a lot better way to do this, but I guess this is to show you how to do it the 4-way with some free tools that come with your car and a little bit of work, and you can rotate your tires for free at home. If the video was helpful, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. One more tip I want to give you. Since you did this rotation, I would definitely, after you've driven probably 10-15 miles, go around and torque the wheels, make sure they haven't loosened, just as another precaution, just to keep an eye on those. But other than that, yeah, that's as simple as it is to rotate the tires on your car. Hope